Let's look ahead to Tuesday. 7 games on in the NBA. Let's preview them. Who's in, who's out, who we're streaming. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I like my steak well done. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky, joshloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. The NFL playoffs are here. We're going to have game-winning drives, we're going to have big moments, we're going to have comebacks, all of that stuff. But you can make it even better with FanDuel. As a new customer, place a $5 bet, get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Go to FanDuel.com to get started. Also go to LockedOnDaily.com and check out the best newsletter for your favorite NBA team. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Sign up in your inbox every day of the week, 5 days a week for free. Also, thumbs, bangs, comments, all that stuff is all greatly appreciated. Live trade deadline show coming up as well. Check that and put it in your calendar, 1 p.m. Eastern, Thursday, February 6th. Well, I should probably just know what that date is, I think, but I don't. That's okay. It is Ryan Dunn's birthday on Tuesday, the 7th of January. So maybe in his new starting role, we can get a big game. That's where we're up, and that's what we're previewing. The games for Tuesday. Like I said, there are 7 of them on. Let's go through them. Let's bang out some info, as we do like to do on this one. The first game up is the Rockets taking on the Washington Wizards. Always remember, check on statuses because things change very quickly. In the NBA, that's how all of this stuff works. We know this. I hope we know it. The first game, I said Houston in Washington. This is a Schedule Plus spot for the Wizards. In terms of injuries, well, Jabari Smith is out. Tari next season, I'm guessing, is doubtful again. Jalen Green popped up as questionable. Marvin Bagley is out on the Washington side. Malcolm Brogdon, I listed him doubtful. He is officially out now. That's not a shock there. While Jordan Poole and Bilal Coulibaly are both questionable. And then, unfortunately, Bub Carrington popped up on the injury report with a questionable tag with ankle soreness, which is not one that I expected. What am I watching for? Well, Alperen Sengun's been a little bit down of late. We're seeing, I want to really see how the interplay with him and Amen Thompson continues. Does that impact what Sengun can do? Like, his percentages are a bit off. He's just not providing the value we thought he could. So I just want to keep watching that. And on the Wizards side of things, Kyle Kuzma went back, unfortunately, to being Kyle Kuzma. He took 1,000,000 shots in the last game. Is that going to happen again? What happens if Poole plays? What happens if Bilal's there? What happens if Bub is playing? Like, where do we leave in Champagne in that scenario? But how does Kuzma respond to that? In terms of stream guys, Dylan Brooks is at any point a risk of shitting the bed. We know this, but he's also had some pretty strong games. The last game wasn't one of them, but he's a stream guy, assuming, of course, that Amen Thompson has already been picked up because he should have been. And the Wizards side, I did have Bub Carrington there as a stream. I didn't expect that he was going to pop up on the injury report as questionable. But if Poole and Carrington are out, along with Brogdon, well, it's Jared Butler time. Yeah, Jared Butler. Jared Butler, who is a two-way guy, but it would who the hell else would it be? It would have to be him. You get a lot more Kispert, a lot more George, a lot more Kuzma, a lot more Champagne, but the only point guard that's going to be there is Jared Butler. So that's something you're going to have to pay some attention to just to see on the status of Bilal, Geordie, and Carlton Carrington. The next game, it is Phoenix taking on the Charlotte Hornets. Phoenix is playing that first game with the new starting lineup on Monday, so we'll talk more about that in the Monday recap show. Both teams are in a Schedule Plus position, both Phoenix and Charlotte. The Suns are 4-point favorites here. I just realized that I didn't even change that injury thing here. Sorry, my brain's a bit scrambled today. My bad. That is obviously not the right injuries for this game because they are players from different games. I'll just tell you who's out. Trey Mann is out. Seth Curry is probable on the Charlotte side of things. And in Phoenix, there's really, unless something happens on Monday, we don't have anyone currently out apart from Royce O'Neal. On the Hornets side of things, last game for Charlotte, we said everyone was back, but the thing I wanted to see there is what would happen to Miles Bridges, and he did drop off considerably. So I want to see sort of where he's sitting usage-wise between Miller and Ball and how it impacts his production because he was putting up some really strong numbers. In terms of stream guys, we are going to look at the birthday boy Ryan Dunn. That's more for defensive stats. You could look at Mason Plumlee. They're very much pretty similar to me. Also Grayson Allen. All three guys are streamable with the 5 games this week. And then Cody Martin, you're not going to get scoring out of Cody on the Hornets, but if you got 5, 5, and 2 assists, rebounds, assists, steals, don't be shocked. That's what he does. He's, I think, been out playing Josh Green for most of this season, even though Green gets the starting role. The other one to watch there for the deeper, the double onyx, the diamond, platinum, titanium, palladium leagues is Nick Smith, who took over the backup role from KJ Simpson and Vasim Micic in the last game. I don't know if that's going to hold in this one. Of course, we want to watch that. But he provided some really nice streaming value in that one. The next game up is the Lakers taking on the Dallas Mavericks. This is a back-to-back for Dallas. We thought that maybe Kyrie would be available here, but he is not. He is out for at least 1 week, maybe 2, maybe more, with a bulging disc in his back. No Schedule Plus situation for either team here. Wood is out. Vanderbilt is out. I don't know about Vincent or Reddish or Hood Schifino. These guys don't have a huge impact. The only one who's massively impactful there, I guess, is Vincent. But if we're talking Vincent and Reddish out, who might play 35 minutes between them, it does help someone like a Connect. It does help give extra minutes to Max Christie. It probably does help Dorian Finney-Smith a little bit there in that position as well. I'm just checking if there has been any updates on those. Yeah, like we've got the official updates are Vincent and Reddish are both questionable. So I guess that they were going to be questionable, but they've been updated to officially questionable. On the Mavs side, there's no Luka. We know this. There's no Kyrie. We now know this. There's no Dante Exum. And I don't think there's anything else. Everyone else is available. Najee Marshall makes his return from suspension on Monday, and everyone else is available to play. The Wolves and the Pelicans. This is, again, one of those games where things move quickly. This is a back-to-back for Minnesota. The Pelicans are in a Schedule Plus position. On the injury front, Rob Dillingham's out, Luka Garza's out, and Luka Garza's questionable, and Minot is questionable. The only one that matters there is Minot. He's the only rotation player. But we got some changes. Now, we heard originally that Trey Murphy was day-to-day, and then Willie Green had also said there's some slight concern there. He's out. They've ruled him out now. Brandon Ingram remains out. But Zion's questionable. I said on the injury show earlier today that maybe we get him back this week, maybe on Friday, but he's back. Questionable doesn't mean that he's going to play necessarily, and they've got a Tuesday, Wednesday back-to-back to Pelicans, and Zion will not play both, but he's playing one of these 2 games. So, that's great news. And what that means is if you're looking to stream somebody in because Murphy's out, it's not happening, because Zion literally just replaces Murphy's usage minutes. Yeah, maybe he won't play as many minutes as what Murphy's been playing as he works back in. That's true. But it's a wash, right? It just doesn't matter. He'll take more shots probably than Murphy. So you don't get any Alvarado or Robinson Earl or whatever boost. Now, of course, if Zion is ruled out on Tuesday and he comes on Wednesday, then you might get a 1-game stream. But that's not going to matter that much in most sort of situations. Makovic also remains out. But then we also got another one, and that is Dejounte Murray. Elbow soreness. Is this why he can't shoot? It would explain a lot. Right elbow soreness questionable tag. They've got a back-to-back. I wouldn't be shocked if he sits one of these games. And if that does happen, then BJ, then Jose Alvarado. I would go with Alvarado over Boston. He's just a better player. And yeah, they would use him more in that situation. But I think also that depends somewhat. Because if Murphy's out and he is, and Zion's out, and DeJounte's out, well, I think Boston's ability to create shots becomes more useful. Because the only guy then who's creating offense is CJ McCollum. But if, let's say Zion plays, and you're going to have Zion, you'll have CJ there, and then Alvarado's value is more important, I think, in that sort of a scenario versus Boston's shot-chucking abilities. So that's going to depend a little bit. In terms of stream, guys, it's always going to be Jaden McDaniels for Minnesota, and I think Alvarado's worth the stream, but that team with the uncertainty there around Zion and DeJounte, both could be in, could be out, can open up a lot of other stuff. So there's Alvarado, there's Boston, there's maybe a Robinson Earl, but you could be losing a lot out of that if DeJounte is out along with along with Trey, and if Zion doesn't play. Also, by the way, I said Makovic was out. He's not actually. He's been upgraded to questionable, so that's my bad. So we got some bad news in that Murphy's out and bad news that DeJounte's questionable, but good news in that Zion's returning. So a little bit of a mixed bag there for the New Orleans Pelicans. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Big upsets, game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs. They are here, and you were ready to watch them. And now, if you're a new customer, you can get $5, or you bet $5 on FanDuel, and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That is $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. The FanDuel app gives you everything that you need for live bets, same-game parlays, and so much more. Go and check out all those odds. I actually might have a look. What are the odds for the first week of the NFL playoffs? You know me. If you're coming for NFL advice, you're coming to me. I'm the man who's going to give it to you. So you can go to FanDuel.com. You can go and join today, but you can also check out these NFL odds. Let's have a look. Well, I do have a somewhat interest in the NFL playoffs because my son is a massive Chargers fan, so they're taking on the Texans in week 1, and they're 2.5-point favorites. All right, we've got the Ravens, massive favorites over the Steelers, Bills over the Broncos, and then we've got Eagles over the Packers and Buccaneers over the Commanders. The Bucs made the playoffs. All right, and Vikings over the Rams. So there you go. That's our odds for the week on FanDuel. Place a $5 bet as a new customer. Get $200 in bonus bets. Go to FanDuel.com, sign up today, and don't forget to gamble responsibly. Okay, the next game up for us to look at after that's the first 4 done. All right, so it is HawksJazz in Utah. I wonder how Utah handles their injury reporting for this one. That's the big question, isn't it? The Jazz are in a Schedule Plus spot, but who's going to be available or who's going to take the shots is the big question. Of course, Bryce Sensabaugh has gone crazy the last 2 games, and then he did absolutely nothing the 2 games prior to that. Or it might be Juzang, or it might be Mihailuk, or it might be Collier, or it might be Filipowski. It won't be Williams because he's not good. So many of these players are not good. That's not fair on Williams. He doesn't put up any stats whatsoever. That's more to the point. It could be Potter. It could be Drew Eubanks. Don't know. But it is a Schedule Plus spot for the Jazz. Next week, though, Utah plays only 2 games. Be aware of that. Larry Nance is out for Atlanta. Jalen Johnson dealing with this shoulder issue that's caused him to miss 2 of the last 3 games. What is this? I'm just seeing something on the Suns starting lineup for today, by the way. They're listing Grayson Allen as a starter, not Tyus Jones. All right, I know you're going to get this information later on after that's breaking news, but that's interesting. So they made those changes, obviously, with no Beal. So Dunn, Plumlee, but it's Allen and not Jones. That's very interesting. Very, very interesting. That really does prioritize a Grayson Allen ad, irrespective of what we're talking about here. Did not expect that to be interesting. That is, yeah. I wasn't a massive Tyus Jones guy in the offseason in terms of the Suns, and I didn't really know why he was necessary to play 30-plus minutes a night, and I guess we're going to find out, aren't we? I guess we're going to find out what happens now if they don't go with him in that lineup. That's almost more consequential to me than those other 2 moves. He will be an easy drop if he plays 25 minutes, Jones. An easy drop. All right, but that's more. This is closer to their lineup from last season. So yeah, again, that's actually like a bit shocking to me that is, especially because it wasn't reported yesterday. Anyway, Atlanta, Jalen Johnson, questionable. Bogdanovic missed the last game with rest. He'll be fine, I'm guessing. I think Johnson will be okay as well. But Utah's where the question is. Clarkson, Collins, Markkanen, and Keontae George all missed the last game. I think there's a chance that most of these guys play, but we just don't know. But that is 4 variables of guys that could be in or out, changing shot attempts, minutes, usage, rotations, all of that stuff. It makes it very hard to sort of nail down what you're going to do with the Jazz. On the Hawks side of things, I am watching Clint Capella because he's not even getting 24 minutes a night these days. It's 22 or it's 19 or it's 21. That doesn't mean Okongwu's playing 27. They just go small. And they don't use a traditional center most of the time. Well, not most of the time, in those intervening minutes. But Capella, to me, is a drop in 12-team leagues. On the Jazz, I want to watch Colin Sexton because I hate myself, and I just want to make sure that I can continue to get it wrong in terms of what his role is and his minutes and his usage and his 33 minutes or 26 minutes or 22 or I don't know. It's all over the shop, and I don't know how to judge it, but I'll keep watching it. Stream guys, Ricochet is the guy in Atlanta. And then for Utah, it is Sensabaugh. But again, could be Potter, could be Filipowski. I just don't know. There are just too many variables with that Jazz team. And I feel like it's going to be messy like this for a while. I will check back and confirm that Suns Tyus Jones thing later. Even though, again, you will probably know by the time this comes out whether that's true or not. This is the Heat and the Warriors is the next game we're looking at. It's a Schedule Plus spot for Golden State. The Warriors are also 6.5-point favorites here, and the Heat come into this game on a back-to-back. Jim Butler is suspended. We know this. Joshy Richardson's out or doubtful on Monday. I don't think Josh is going to play on Tuesday either. And then for Golden State, Kuminga's out, Gary Payton's going to be out, and there is a chance that Brandon Podziemski is available to return, which would have an impact on Lindy Waters and on Buddy Hield and all these bench guards that they've been throwing out there. On the Warriors, it's to me about watching Trace Jackson-Davis, because I thought Kuminga being out might actually give him more minutes, but no, he played fewer minutes. That was likely because they were down 30 very early on to the Kings, but we watched those minutes, because if he goes back to 19, it's not worth holding him. We need 23 plus 24 minutes for Jackson-Davis to be a 12-team league guy, and it looked like we were getting stability, and then we didn't. So we got to go back and watch it again. In terms of streams, Nikola Jovic is providing some pretty interesting value. I don't think that he's necessarily a must, but for now, I don't have any problem with using Jovic. And then on the Warriors, it would depend who else is available, but Jackson-Davis is your priority. Otherwise, Kyle Anderson is going to get more minutes, and for deeper leagues, his ability to play that sort of backup 4 spot coming off the bench, there's something there for deeper formats. In terms of the last game, it should be an absolute cracker. It's the Celtics and the Nuggets in Denver. 5.5-point favorites, the Celtics are on the road, but this is a Schedule Plus spot for Denver for us from a fantasy perspective. Aaron Gordon is out, but it does appear that he will be returning, let's say maybe Friday. He's doing some work in practice, so maybe he's back for Friday. Vlatko Cancar is out, and that's the only people who are listed on the injury report at this point for either team. So a relatively clean injury situation for both of those squads. Let's have a look at some schedule portions of the slate and how we can make do or take advantage, I guess, more importantly, of the NBA schedule. In terms of back-to-backs, Tuesday to Wednesday, if you want to get some extra games in, we've got Denver, we've got the Pelicans, and we've got the Wizards. So with a lot of injury clouds there in New Orleans, obviously with Zion returning, he's only going to play one of them. The Nuggets, I don't think Aaron Gordon's back for either of them. That would be one to watch. Well, it doesn't matter, actually. We know he's out Tuesday. And then the Wizards about Billa, but more importantly about Jordan Poole, whether he's able to go, because it is a back-to-back. If he plays one, does he sit the other? That's probably the important part of that one, I would say. The chunky part of the schedule. So people said, should you rebrand the chunk section to be Schedule Plus? And there is a slight difference. Maybe it can be confusing. Schedule Plus, to me, this is how I look at Schedule Plus when I'm talking about those individual games. It's for these 2 specific situations. 3 games in 4 nights or 4 games in 6 nights. That's how I look at where I'm talking about that is a Schedule Plus. It's a real advantage schedule situation. When I'm talking chunks, I'm literally just looking at the next 5 days. And while you might say, why don't you just keep it to 4 or keep it to 6? I think it just provides slightly different, a different overview of a different period of time, because we all have different settings in our leagues of 4 ads or 3 ads or 2 ads or 7 ads. Whereas, looking at 5-game windows is more important if you've got smaller amounts of ads, or Schedule Plus can be more useful for when you're looking at, when you've got 4 ads for the week, because you can hit those 4-day periods and get 3 games in. So I will keep them separate, but just so you know what the designations are. A chunk is just 5, who's got the best schedule over the next 5 days. And these guys, Tuesday through to Saturday, they've all got 3 games. Leaky Beasley, Tamani Kamara, Dylan Brooks, Jaden McDaniels, and then 2 Heat guys, Jaime Jaquez Jr. and Little Chungus Nikola Jovic. We haven't had much on the 5s and 2s front lately, but we're back. We've got some 5s and 2s to talk about, because over the next 7 days, you know us, we are non-calendrical legends here. So we like to look at all 7-day periods, not just ones that start on Monday. Over the next 7 days, Tuesday through to Monday, the Wizards play 5 games. So when we're talking about Poole and Bub and Bilal and then Champagny and Kispert and George and Sarr and Valanciunas and whoever, 5 games, 7 nights, starting Tuesday for the Wizards. Players are going to sit. Other guys are going to rise up. And you're going to have, Jared Butler maybe step his way in and be the best Jay Butler in the league during that period. On the flip side, the Kings have 2 games. Now, they're not a 2-game week this week, but they have 2 games in the next 7 nights. So they are a 2-game team. And that's where we have to get into this discussion about, what do you do with Keon Ellis? Because if Fox is going to be out on Monday, but if Fox is back for their next game and Murray's there, and DeRozan and Sabonis, how much does Ellis play? And are they going to play Devin Carter? Is he worth a hold 2 games, 7 nights? Where he might play 22 minutes a night, 44 minutes, 7 nights. Nowhere near enough. I would probably suggest holding until we find out. And it's annoying that we don't get to find out on Monday. But it's a bad period. Well, it's not that bad. It's a pretty bad period of the schedule for the Sacramento Kings coming up. We've got streams of the day to talk about, and we will. But today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Basketball season is heating up. We are here, and you love basketball, you love the NBA, you love fantasy. So that's where Prize Picks comes in. It is the best way to get real money action watching your favorite NBA teams and players. Just pick more or less on at least two players and their individual projections, whether it's LeBron and his points, or it's Shea and his assists, or you're looking at Noah Clowney for some reason and his rebounds. You can put all that together, get an entry in under 60 seconds. Plus, Prize Picks' flex play means that even if one of your picks does not hit, you can still double your money. And when you do win, you can get paid out very fast, in as little as 15 minutes sometimes. So download the app today, use the code LOCKEDONNBA, and get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That is right, there is no need to win to get the bonus. It is guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Okay, let's take a look at streams of the day, all of the streaming action that you need to know about. We'll go through, let's start with the streams of the day. That's, of course, the best way for us to start this off. The 10-teamer, I'm going with Mason Plumlee. This is assuming that Grayson Allen is not added. He is at the top of that list if he is not added. Actually, that gives me a nice little chance. Should I go and check in on that? No, they've updated it, and Tyus Jones is back to starting. What is actually going on with these lineups? There you go. What is... That's so weird. So the official lineup designator... The official lineup feed designator has Grayson Allen still starting. But it looks like they're reporting that Tyus Jones is still starting. Keep an eye on it. That's fishy. Oh, no, they've updated it now. There you go. The Suns lineup is now updated. So, Tyus Jones back to starting. There you go. I told you to be sold by the time you watch this show. It is. Anyway, Mason Plumlee, 10-team stream. Najee Marshall, 12-team stream. Ryan Dunn, your 14-team stream. Cody Martin, a 16-team stream. And then Yahoo and ESPN points, we're going with Quentin Grimes with the absence of Kyrie Irving. In terms of the 10-team stream list here for category leagues, Plumlee, Marshall, Dunn, Conley, that's Ryan Dunn, Nikola Jovic, and Spencer Dinwiddie. The reason that Quentin Grimes doesn't appear on this list is he's over my roster percentage cutoff. To make it there, he's at 71% advanced roster, and I use 65% for 10-team leagues. For your 12-teamers, it does get a little hairy down towards the end here. So I've got Jaime Jaquez Jr., Bub Carrington, assuming he plays, Cody Martin, Hayward Highsmith, Josh Green, and Kyle Anderson. Obviously not getting many points from at least those last four names, but some other peripheral stats they can bring in. And then when you want to go deeper than that into the deep league diamonds, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Dorian Finney-Smith, Jose Alvarado, Slammon Sammy Hauser, Peyton Watson, and BJ Boston. And then, despite a million tech problems, let's go and have a look at the points streaming guys for the day. Yahoo and ESPN, it is the same list of players. We're going with Grimes, Najee Marshall, Dylan Brooks, Spencer Dinwiddie, Jaime Jaquez Jr., and Jaden McDaniels. Let's get out of here now. It is Ryan Dunn's birthday, ready to celebrate. Apologies for the Tyus Jones stuff in the middle. Just thought it was very interesting when I saw it, and we'll find out exactly what the Suns do, but clearly things are not going particularly well for those guys at the moment, but things can go well for you, and you can do that by thumbing up, but you can also just do that by just being kind. Kind to yourself, kind to others. Negativity, what does it bring you? A momentary sense of superiority? A justification for whatever? We just all need to be better at looking after ourselves and helping others, I think. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.